Matthew McConaughey is an Oscar award-winning actor who starred in many A-list movies.
He went from almost going to law school and planning to become a lawyer to deciding to becoming an actor and becoming one of the world's highest paid stars.
Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 and 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 and 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Matthew McConaughey, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Always be prepared.
The work ethic's always been an important thing for me. If just, here's the thing, based on sheer embarrassment of not being able to do my job as well as possible.
Right.
Have I gotten better at my job? I hope so. Been doing it longer. I'm trying to cut my handicap, as I've always liked to say.
Yeah.
But I know how to work maybe more constructively. I know how to get out of trouble if I'm in a pinch, or if I'm feeling too much tension, or if I'm hung up one day at work. I've got some tricks to get out of it. But the work ethic's never been something that I lacked in, basically out of sheer embarrassment, because I've showed up one time. I showed up unprepared.
What was that?
Well, it's a great story. Check this out. So, I do Dazed and Confused. All right. I'm not an actor. I'm going to film school. I'm in the right bar at the right time. I get cast in that film. I get called up to set one night to do makeup and wardrobe test. I'm not supposed to be in the scene tonight. All right, but I get called up there. I step out of the trailer. Richard Linklater, the director, goes, "Man, this is great. You want to shoot this scene? We'll improvise it." I'm like, "Yeah." We go shoot it. Boom. All of a sudden, 3 lines turns into 3 weeks' work. I go from there. I go do Boys on the Side and film Angels in the Outfield. Well, Boys on the Side was a very sort of constricted, tight role where I was playing Abraham Lincoln, this cop who took his name very seriously. And for about a year and a half after that role, I found that I'd get call back, but not get the role, not get the part. And I kept leaving auditions going, "You're being too tight, McConaughey, you're being too tight. You need to just really hang it out there in the audition and either just screw up and be a fool, but let's find out." And so I got cast in this independent feature, and I'm not gonna say the name of it. I get cast and I get this bright idea. You know what, I gotta go back to how I began. When I didn't know any of the script, I didn't have anything written, I just knew my man, and I showed up in a situation and I just handled it. So I get the script, no, not gonna read it. But I know who I'm playing.
The director must have loved you.
He doesn't know, I'm not telling anybody. I'm not telling anybody this time, this is my new bright idea.
It's a great idea.
So I'm like, I know who I am, I know what the conflict is, and I know who's trying to get past me, and I'll just handle it. So I show up on the set that day, and right before about to go, I'm like, okay, I know who I am, but maybe I'll just take a peek at the sides. Just to get an idea, because I know my man, when I read these sides, if it's written well, I'll be like, obviously, that's exactly what I'd say. So I get the sides. We're just about to shoot. Can I get about 12 minutes?
All these
You know
lines.
why? 4-page monologue in Spanish.
Oh no!
Oh yes! I got a bead of sweat came up on the back of my neck and it started to drip down my back. And for whatever reason, I asked for 12 minutes because in my mind, I thought that's enough time to actually learn this, but not enough time to be inconsiderate to the crew.
Oh my gosh!
It was not that inconsiderate to the crew, but it was definitely not enough time to learn it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I learned that day, no. You prepare your ass off, and then you learn to loosen up. Then you throw it all out. But that was my bright idea, and I learned from it, and it was quite embarrassing.
Rule number 2, be selfish.
The ideal spot, all right, where I like to be, and I'm not always there, but where I love to be is when what I'm doing selfishly for me, even hedonistically for me, happens to be what's best for the most amount of people. That's the sweet spot. But then that's for guys like Jesus Christ and so what have you, other prophets. I'm not saying I'm there very few times, Emma, but that's the spot. And I think anything, look at Interstellar. what Cooper does. He wants to fly selfishly, to live his dream. Is it also for the chance to actually save mankind? Yeah, but he also has his own personal quest that if he didn't get to, he's got some spite for this world because that's what he's supposed to do. His home is in the cockpit. So I think I like to personally try and find a selfish reason why I want to do everything.
Yeah, I understand that.
And also there's delayed gratification is what I'm saying. What is selfish is not necessarily I have to have the pleasure right now, because if you get the pleasure right now but you have a bad hangover tomorrow, that's not very selfish. Also, if you're lying, cheating, and stealing, that may be selfish right then, but that means you got to walk out in the world and look over your shoulder.
So in a sense, I'm selfish because I want this show to do well.
Yeah.
Do well at projection.
Right. And if you're going to screw some people over, is that selfish? Not really. Maybe you get the reward immediately, but that also means you've got to look over your shoulder wherever you go. That also means that you can't really walk freely around the world. So that would be not selfish.
Rule number 3, know your craft.
There wasn't anyone who showed me the ropes, but I'll say this about Hollywood. Boy, the first people you get introduced to are the most important people. Because the thing about out there in Hollywood, the challenge is the options are endless. And I happened to go out there when I was 21, when I had some pretty good semblance of who I was, you know? And I have trouble imagining how some people go out there younger than that, because everything's yes, yes, yes. Well, too many yeses and too many options, we all know that can make a tyrant of any of us. And that's a lot of what Hollywood is. It's yes, yes, yes. So the first people I met were the right people. I met a man, Kevin Morris, who's still my lawyer today. His wife, Gabby Morgan, who was my agent there for a while, still friends with. They introduced me to good people. And I built a pretty good little social circle pretty easily. I had the cast of everyone in Dazed and Confused who I'd worked with between my junior and senior year in college, who were actors in Hollywood who I hung out with. And those are people that invited me into my first movie when I had 3.5 lines and gave me 3.5 weeks work because they invited me into the storyline. They wrote me into the storyline. So I got fortunate. I met people that were the right people. It wasn't until really 1997 that I started to have the courage, or that day I had the courage to say, okay, I've got some natural ability, I've got instinct for this, but I need to, as my buddy and I said, lower my handicap. And that was Don Phillips, the casting director who found me in Austin when I began. And he introduced me to, he goes, you need to go talk to this lady, Penny Allen, who has since passed away. And that's when I really started to understand what my craft was, what my rights were, how to study, how to work, how to get yourself out of trouble if the scene wasn't going well.
Rule number 4, create your path.
The 40s were much more of a demarcation for me than the 30s, which I think is consistent whether you're in this business, you're me or not. As a man, the 40s are where you really start to customize. 30s, I think, were more about process of elimination to get where you want to go. 40s are about, no, I don't need to eliminate anymore. I'm going to choose and not ask permission and create my own path and do things that do naturally turn me on.
Also, if you want to have unstoppable confidence and self-love, check out my 254 series, where every day for the next 254 days, I'll send you an email with an awesome unlisted video to help you build your confidence. It's free. The links to sign up are in the description below.
My call time is at 7. Then you back your clock up 4 hours, and then that's when I get up.
The way to improve lives is to continually improve yourself.
Playing these characters and doing this, it's been a great combination, like a really good year to just push the envelope. And I think that's always what I want to do.
Rule number 5, accept things as they are.
Are you happy in your fame?
Yeah, I am pretty happy in my fame. I mean, I cashed that check a long time ago. So I've worked to embrace it and say, well, let me understand what my relationship is with it, because I don't want to fight against it. Again, if I really want to fight against it, there are places on the globe I could move. I know some places in Northwest Africa where nobody would know my name nor give a damn. So I'm not going to really stay here and kind of about it. So relationship-wise is instead of probably in my life now, I look at it less like, oh, I'm this guy and I'm famous. I'm like, no, you know what? I'm McConaughey. I happen to be a celebrity. I'm also an actor. I'm also a father. I am also this. And throw them all in the pot and say it's part of the deal.
Rule number 6, be yourself.
and I played that as it laid, as I saw it. But if we could get this young man to do what he could do, which was behave honestly in front of a camera, and not be an actor, not be conscious of actually what he was doing, not understand that, oh, this is a really big line. This one is a seminal moment in the movie. We don't want him to understand those things. Just be yourself. You understand the scenario that this character you're going through is going through, so just behave honestly with that.
Rule number 7, go beyond your imagination.
It must be said, I don't like to refer to myself, but Matthew and I go back a long way. In fact, we did a scene together in Contact.
Sure did.
That movie, that was a space movie,
Yeah.
which is nothing compared to this space movie.
No, that different. But I will say that's the movie that got me somewhat interested in just being able to go further than just my imagination, and realizing what might be out there. Oh, that may be the new frontier, space. That's the film that got me thinking about, for me, God's backyard was bigger than I thought, and it was more tangible. And in this one, I get to actually go explore it. Interstellar, I get to actually go there.
Rule number 8, be involved.
One, in the way I was raised, and some people say it's a Southern thing, so maybe you know what I'm talking about, but you probably know what I'm talking about, whether it's a Southern thing or just a human thing. One, I'm got a career. I'm making a living at it. So you learn to be thankful for just that. But maybe I didn't feel as involved with my career. Maybe I was too, because you have to get by. Part of growing up is you have to get by being impressed with whatever you're doing. You got to be respectful of it, but you have to get past being impressed. You can't do a good interview if you're overly impressed with the person you're talking to. You got to be involved, and it's got to be even level, right?
Yeah.
Same I think for me as an actor, I'd be really involved with my career and ask myself those questions. What is it I want to do? And again, at that time, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I was eliminating things that I did not want to do, though. And sometimes by process of elimination, you start to single out the stuff, the places you go that don't pay back residuals, the choices you make that maybe don't pay off and make your life more satisfactory down the line, and you end up with more things in front of you that do give back to you. So that's what a lot of my 30s were about, but I didn't go off. I've never been a hasty one to go and get nervous about like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I was taught and understood very early in this business, lean horse, long ride. Stay in the game, and it'll find you or you'll find it if you wanna calibrate and make a change.
Rule number 9, commit fully.
I mean, you throw all yourself into these roles in every way. Is that something you just feel you have to do rather than kind of fake it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm vain that way. Yeah. That's the fun for me. I like saying, never be eccentric for eccentricity's sake. I'm not looking for something odd to do or extreme to do. If it comes from the man I'm playing, then great. And then that's the fun of what I get to do. I get to go say, hey, for 8 months, you've got a green light and your only responsibility is to this man that you're playing. That's it. And that's what's fun about acting and being an actor for hire.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is have fun.
So you have to just, the first thing that comes to your mind, you say it and then you hit this, okay?
Okay.
First thing that comes to your mind.
Come on.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Diane Lane.
Wow, and then you just worked with her again.
I just worked with her.
Yeah. What's the weirdest thing you've done to make money?
It's also illegal. So I'm not telling. It could come back to haunt me.
All right. Who do you think is the sexiest man alive?
I always say I was on the cover and I'm still alive.
Uh-huh.
Right now I believe it's Idris Elba.
Yeah. All right. What is the most rebellious thing you did as a teenager?
13, I got really mad at the parents and I'm running away, and as soon as they went, oh, you are, and they beat me to my room to start packing my bags, helping me, and then pushed me out the door, I went, oh, I don't think I really want to go as bad as I thought I did. Yeah, I wasn't that rebellious.
No, so not at all. What's something you do that embarrasses your kids?
Sing, hum, and dance a lot. Anywhere.
All right. Besides making love, showering, swimming, or playing bongos, what is something else you enjoy doing naked?
What were the list of the first 6 things?
Making love, swimming, showering,
showering, or
playing bongos.
What else do you enjoy doing naked? Cooking, if we're not deep frying anything.
All right. What do you usually wear to bed?
So to answer that one before, the other thing I like to do besides just sometimes sleep.
Naked. What celebrity can you do an impression of?
I don't do impressions of celebrities.
Okay. There's a lot of anger when you hit that thing. What on-screen co-star were you most nervous to kiss?
I'm happy to say I'm going back through a bit of a log here of...
That could take a while.
Help me out.
Yeah. Not Diane, because you had a crush on her?
We did kiss, but you haven't seen the movie, so yes, we did. That's a good answer, thank you.
Okay.
Diane Lane, because I did have a crush on her from Lonesome Dove when she was Lori Dawn, so I was kissing myself.
How did your wife feel about that?
Wonderful.
What's a ridiculous thing you're afraid of?
Oh, backflips. It's ridiculous. And I'm afraid of them.
I agree with you. If you can't sleep in the middle of the night, what do you do?
Well, I go to this Calm app and listen to this reading.
Of yourself. There's a Calm app because his voice is so soothing that he actually did. You have to hear it.
Now, I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, if you're still here watching, I wanna celebrate you. If you commit to taking action after watching this video, we don't just watch videos, we do something about it. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments as well.
We're playing make-believe. So our job is to make you believe. And it's kind of as simple as that in a very childish way. My children reminded me to be younger and enjoy the... Doesn't have to make sense. What's the story? I have the movies I'm usually doing are not movies that my children, I'm allowing them to see yet. But they all want to know, what's the movie about? Well, I've learned to pitch the movies. You know, I pitch them to my wife one way. I pitch them to my wife that way, the R-rated true way. I don't pitch them to my children that way. So I find I have to say, who's my audience? And it's very good for actually my job is to go, how do you tell the same story to a different audience? How do you pitch the same maybe R-rated theme movie, adult themes, to my 7-year-old son? Well, I have to make it more of a fable. You know, there's less particulars, but yet there's a family trying to stay together, and they don't have money, and they're trying to get by, and they're not necessarily going by the law just right, but they're hanging on, and they think they may have it, and all of a sudden, oh no, it comes down them, and they don't have it, and the boy has to go away and leave the father, and the father's on the outside waiting for his son. So you tell it in a sort of a more Grimm's fairy tale way, but it's been a very good exercise for me to pitch my stories and things I'm in to my children. Look, there's I can find a hook where I'm not the same, thankfully, not the same father as Rick Wersey Sr. The hook, though, for me that I do have, that any parent has, as you know, when you have children, you die for your kids. You lay yourself down for your kids. You do anything to keep your family together. You do anything for your kids. You put them in front of you. That's an easy, natural law. That's black and white in a world where it's hard to have many black and whites.
If you want to see the top 10 I did on Adam Driver, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
You would just have to feel comfortable with failing. And you either get easier on yourself, I think, about like, okay, then I'll let it go, or you don't.